Hello everybody, welcome to the season of AI 2.0. Today we are having with us Mr. Abhilekh Verma. He is the director of Abhilekh Verma Consultancy and he'll be teaching you today. So over to you Abhilekh. The stage is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Dhruv, for having me. Thank you, Riskill, once again for the opportunity. So let me quickly start the session right away. I hope my presentation is ready. Yeah. So today we are going to discuss on the co-pilot and the studio part. I mean, a lot of folks I see right now using a lot of tools from Microsoft, right? I mean, whether it is ChatGPT, Copilot, and Studio, right? So we are going to talk about Copilot Studio and a little bit aspects of Copilot as well. Before I directly jump in, just a quick, like intro about myself. So I've been into, corporate training as well as running an AML startup, which is into recruitment and upskilling. So for me, running these tools and utilizing them for my day-to-day activities really helps me save a lot of my time. So that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to do a session on the Copilot front. Whether you're a developer, whether you're a corporate professional, or whether you are a startup owner, it depends on how you want to customize and use the tool. But before I jump into the topic and tell you about what Copilot is, what Studio is, and how does it differ with the other tools which you actually have with Microsoft, I would quickly like to show you what the tool benefits are, and also like very specifically, I would like to show what this Copilot does. So if you can quickly see the screen about the Copilot Studio, this is presently available for all the enterprises, or let's say startups who want to use this. So this to use this demo, you need a corporate account. So a Gmail or a Yahoo won't work. So to actually install this, or let's say to use it for a free version, to do a trial, you would need a corporate email ID per se. You can also create different corporate IDs using G Suite, or you can also use different IDs which is available on the internet to get a corporate look as well, just in case if you don't want to buy a domain. So there are different ways how you can get an email ID, with terms of using such kind of tools. Now, when it comes to Copilot Studio, a lot of people have a confusion, like what is Copilot and what is Copilot Studio. So basically, Copilot Studio, as you can see, it's a bigger version of Microsoft Copilot. So if you actually come up to the pricing, you will realize, like, just like you have Chat GPT, for example, you have let's say Chat GPT 4, which is $20 per month plus GST. Similarly, Microsoft Copilot is $30 per month. This is again an annual commitment here. So here you have to pay each month $30. Now, when I talk about Copilot Studio, this is a next version of it, because again, it is very useful for startups because it can help you get 25,000 messages per month. So as you can see here, it costs around $200, right? So that's a lot if you are a very small company. But let's say if you want to grow and if you want to see the ROI, it's a very useful tool, because ultimately, let's say you want to build apps and let's say you don't know coding, for example, you don't know how to use different tools like Python and things like that. I mean, Copilot Studio is one of the greatest tool which you can use, and you can actually build your own agents. You can try to integrate all those different channels which you use. And the best part is, let's say you have a lot of customers and a lot of employees, so just like you have Einstein Copilot, you can integrate with all the different platforms and things like that with Microsoft. So that's one advantage I really wanted to highlight. There are a lot of features which we can go in detail and see one by one as well when it comes to Microsoft 365 Copilot, right? So one of the key things which you can see on the screen is about being your IT agent. So one of the key challenge, let's say if you run an enterprise, or let's say if you run a startup, is to handle a lot of transactions. Okay, so it could be, let's say, with traveling, it could be with voice, it could be day-to-day operations, it could be with IT, right? So everything is, in a nutshell, your agent does it. So let's say you have to hire, let's say, an executive assistant. You don't even have to hire here. Let that agent do all those things for you. So you want to travel, and you won't have to have some kind of challenges, and you want to just get it done quickly. So this agent will quickly get it sorted, right? So as you can see on the screen, you have different options with different kind of templates, which you can use based upon your requirement. And the good part is there is always a documentation support, which I think all the Microsoft tools right now I see provides, right? So that's one good thing about that. Obviously, you can add multiple agents, and you can use a connected platform with Azure AI. So let's say I want to do a conversational kind of a conversation with, let's say, an agent. So I can probably just write some kind of messages, and they will just reply to me just like quickly, right? I'll show you a difference about what I really liked. Let's say I've been using ChatGPT, the 4.0, and I've been trying to compare, let's say, with the Copilot. So I'll show you some differences today about how better this tool is compared with, let's say, ChatGPT 4, and what is the difference when it comes to prompt engineering with that. Also, I'll also cover that today as well. And the good part is, let's say, for example, you're coming from a non-technical background and you really want to build a agent, or let's say you want to have everything at one place. So this is just a perfect tool which you can use, and you can probably customize a lot of things. And obviously, as you can see, you can make your conversations actionables, right? So you luckily have a lot of other tools already available in the Microsoft ecosystem. So you can use different flows, different power platform tools to automate everything. And the good part is, obviously, you can customize each of the things, right? And one of the greatest features of this is, let's say you want to connect anything related with banking transactions, or let's say you want to connect your personal current accounts and things like that. So all those things, you can bring your system to life. And obviously, this Azure OpenAI service, just like you can build things on your own from scratch, right? So this is something super interesting when it comes to Copilot. And you can add multiple kind of actions, as you can see. Like, I think we all use a lot of emails, right? So I want to automate or create a copywriting content. So I can use Mailchimp, for example, to send different copywriting content. GitHub, if I want to have an open source coding and things like that. If I want to sign my documents, let's say I can enable it with this Dynamic 365. I can use, I can check the weather. So there's a lot of features, just like you will find it in Chat GPT. You have, let's say, what I can say, different value of services. Let's say I was talking today about, let's say, language as a challenge. So let's say if I have some employee working with me who is speaking Vietnamese, and I want to send a voice note to them. So I can enable that with Duolingo. So there's a lot of options currently available with Microsoft tools, where if someone is speaking different language, we can still converse it quickly with help of voice based options. So you see a voice based button where you can quickly send a voice note, and you can get a reply in the relevant language. And obviously, they always say, like, you shouldn't give your like main information, like the personal things and things like that. So this is very AI responsible. You should also have some kind of practices of understanding what are the things you should put into the prompt and things like that. So there's a playbook. Basically, it can really help you to become more responsible with AI. It has been also been recognized as a leader in terms of software 2023 vendor assessment, right, by in the IDC market space. So yeah, I mean, you can read a lot about that, but this is just a generic overview about what Copilot Studio pricing looks like. So obviously, depending upon your usage, and let's say specifically, what kind of use case you have, you can buy the license, or you can try free, for the time being, right? I can quickly also show you some of the prompts I tried today. So let's say, since I've been into, let's say, recruitment and training, so a lot of folks come to me asking, like, let's say I want to apply for a job. I'm a developer. I'm looking for a next job in a specific country. So I write a prompt, something like sharing a use case for developers looking for their next job. So when I compare Chat GPT with Copilot, there's a difference here, because the way how they put it in a nutshell versus what I see with ChatGPT, there's a vast difference, right? I'm not trying to say which is best or better, but what I can see is in terms of structure, I really like with Copilot. So yeah, as you can see here, they have really made a use case, and you can see they have named this person. So it's a more customized way, saying Rahul, because he's based out of India, and you can see they have created an generic 5 years of an experience in web development, and these are the steps he needs to do to ensure to land up a job for his next profile. So it's like all the groundwork which Copilot does, which probably, let's say, you have to hire a mentor, or ask them, or maybe ask your faculty about how to approach and do things like that. So it just gives you a nutshell kind of summarized content. So as you can see, please update your resume and LinkedIn profile, search for job. Obviously they will recommend some of the preferred job platforms, right, like Indeed, LinkedIn, and Naukri. Right, apply to the relevant jobs, prepare for interviews, right, network, obviously. So they're talking about 3 to 4 instances where you can network and find relevant kind of people, right, and then obviously follow up and then accept the job offer, right. And post that, let's say I want to go a little bit more on the process. So let's say you have done all the 6 steps, I mean you're on the 7th step. So let's say you need some kind of assessment in terms of negotiations and things like that, or you want to review the offer, compare some offers. So you can also write a prompt here asking about, does this offer make sense to me, should I join this company or not. So it's like your personalized agent, which really helps you to structure your things and to understand whether this is for you or not, right. Similarly, there's another use case I can quickly show you, which I really liked. A lot of folks ask, let's say they are working in corporates, and they also want to have a side income from freelancing. So considering that as one of the use case, and understanding your expertise. So let's say you're good at content writing, business development, and let's say soft skills training, right. I mean everyone is good at business development now, because we are able to conversate with a lot of people, right. So there's a quick use case being made for generating income through freelancing. You can see very specific. They have mentioned like this person whose name is Arav, and he's expert in this specific areas, and this is how he can generate revenue. He can define his services, he can create a portfolio, he can join different freelancer platforms. So these are the different platforms which is recommended to join, right. There are more, so you can go deep dive and ask, okay, I have know that these 3 platforms are too exhausted to join, can you recommend more platforms. So the Copilot will be like your AI companion and help you with more platforms as well. Then network and market, do the bidding. It will also give you suggestions how to write some quality bidding, and how to deliver high quality work, right. How to seek feedback and testimonials, and then finally how to keep adding more number of clients and things. So obviously it is also providing you an outcome saying you are generating a revenue, and you're getting that. So you can just keep on conversating just like a chat buddy, and you can keep asking things. There's a button, you can upload your images, documents, and all those factors and things. This button helps you to go to home, and also you can see your previous history and things like that. You just need to first log in with your personal email ID, right. So this is free to use when it comes to using it for let's say for for a lot of purposes based upon what you want, right. So Copilot is obviously there. Even if you install, let's say, Microsoft Explorer. So obviously you have this where you can see on the right hand side you have a Copilot instead of having, let's say, like this an app. So you can probably do a lot of things here, and you can see you can add an image. As I mentioned, use microphone to translate things, and obviously it will provide you a lot of instances about here, right. So I love to use this one more because it really helps me to have a more number of features. Parallelly, one thing I really like about this is, whenever I want to talk to Copilot, I can quickly go here and talk, right. So that's a pretty easier thing which I can do. On top of it, I use a lot of extensions which I can also recommend if you would like to use. So based upon what you want to achieve something. So let's say I use Cider. This is with the Chat GPT. So let's say if whatever I'm searching, it will help me to find something relevant, and to give me answers quickly. Similarly, I use Grammarly. So it really helps me with my grammar, and let's say with AI writing also, it gives me suggestions in prompt as well. So Grammarly is also some of the Git. Other tools are also sometimes which is highly useful in terms of using it, right? So this is just a brief about how the tool looks like and what we can use, right? Now coming up with what Copilot is actually, right? A lot of people ask, like, how can I be super creative? Let's say I come from an industry where we have a lot of information, but unfortunately there's a lot to take. How do I make myself super productive? So one of the key things in creativity is, like, the process, right? So when you have this kind of advanced tools, your mental blocks can be probably be put in a systematic format, right? And think about, let's say you having a room full of innovative tools, and you can use your full power to become super productive. So with Copilot Studio and the one benefit what I see right now is you can start getting a lot of problem solving questions answered literally in seconds. I remember a lot of folks using Copilot for, let's say, solving their assignments in MBA, which unfortunately when I was in MBA I couldn't have that kind of feature. So you just upload, let's say, a photograph of the question, and then you just tell them to, let's say if there are four options, you just tell them specifically, saying, look, I need the right answer, I don't need an explanation. So they'll just give you the right option. So this is one of the way how you can do quick problem solving. Similarly, let's say if you want to code something, and let's say you have forgotten some syntax and things like that, so you can upload that into the system, and then it can ask what are the errors. So instead of you debugging it yourself manually, you can probably have this. So there's a lot of creativity happening here with the help of this. The only challenge what I see right now with any kind of tool right now is it really makes you lazy. So you should ensure that you are using your brain, you are using a lot of research tools as well on top of using any kind of AI tools, because you shouldn't be 100% dependent. Because remember, the data which is you're getting access to is again being fed by someone, so it might not be 100% accurate. So I would highly recommend to check before trusting that data, right? Now, I've already shown what a Copilot Studio looks like, but in a nutshell, if you ask me, so it's a very beautiful platform which really helps me to generate multiple ideas and solutions. And the good part is I'm able to streamline my workflows, right? So let's say if you ask me, the number of hours you can save, it's around 20 to 40 hours per week. That is the number of hours you can save if you're running a business, if you really can write a lot of memos. Now, think about, there are a lot of tools already available. Let's talk about Otter, right? So Otter is already there, who is going to transcribe your meetings in terms of finding the MOM for the meeting, or let's say sending attendees what are the next actionable steps and things like that, right? There are a lot of such tools already available. So imagine you're clubbing that with Copilot, so that is really useful, right? And ultimately it's all about maximizing your potential, right? So I'm fortunate to use Copilot, right? One of the key things about using Copilot is like the variety of solutions it has, right? So I can actually do a lot of things in less time, and that is what I really like. Right, same thing with Chat GPT as well. If I use, so I mean, I can do a lot in limited time, right? Now, a lot of people ask me, like, why is AI so important in creativity? I mean, why do we depend? I mean, just think about it. Like, so you talk about any of the companies right now, specifically with OpenAI, right? They're getting another $1 billion of funding, right? Why are they getting a lot of funding? It's because it's changing your creativity, right? It's just enhancing the way how you look towards the things. You started observing a lot of things. I was, having an experience in June when I had a chance to interact with a AI robot, right? And I have seen asking questions about, what is a fish, to asking questions about what is creativity. They were able to answer much better when I asked a generic question like creativity. But when I ask a fish question, it's like a biased kind of a photo which I could get, or sometimes it's not able to even catch up in Singapore. It was with one of the universities where engineering students had made that AI robot. But it was not that accurate when I see with that kind of creativity part. But then when I was last week in Korea, and I had a chance to interact with some of the robots at the airport, at the Seoul airport, and I had some kind of questions about my flight. I had some questions about what is the gate number, what are the things, and literally in seconds it was able to answer it very accurate, right? So the creativity part, which the AI models are building right now, it's a lot of data which they are connecting, because again, someone going to that airport, or let's say someone going to that same journey, right? So they already have those kind of insights and those kind of suggestions in place. The same thing happens with Copilot Studio, because they have a lot of data, right? So I mean, till if you ask like how many people are using, so I think around 50,000 plus people are currently using as per the data of February, right? So 50,000 plus corporates are actually using Copilot Studio, right? So you can imagine the amount of data which is being collected, right? But yeah, you really need to understand there's a difference between human intuition and machine learning. So it's trying to collaborate between both of them to bring more creativity. As you can see this picture, right? How lovely is this picture? I mean, if you think about creating it on your own, it's going to take a lot of hard work and effort. But just with prompt engineering, with giving a prompt, you can get this quick, picture something into the place, right? Now, not to go much deep, but just to highlight some of the features which you already saw on the Copilot Studio. One of the key things was brainstorming tools, right? So let's say you're in office and you want to talk to a lot of people, but unfortunately they are not available. So you try to book a meeting room and you try to do a brainstorming activity. Now think about everyone having an access in the office, and you just send them a link. They put their thought process, you put your thought process at different time zones at different times, and everything is equated with the Copilot Studio, and all of them can have a summarized kind of an answer, or let's say a suggestion to it, right? So all those kind of features can be integrated. Content generation, yes, because I mean, you think about like how many prompts is freely available now on this platform. So I can think about maybe 5 or 10 prompts. Let's say if I want to talk about sales, very specifically if you ask about B2B segment. But let's say with the Copilot Studio, it will already provide me pre-existing templates of maybe 100 or 200 such templates about what are different kind of content to write on the social media to generate interest in terms of lead generation, right? And then collaboration options, right? So think about, let's say you want to collaborate with different organizations. I remember signing up a memorandum of associations, MOU, with one of the biggest universities in Singapore, and I really had to write all those legal documentation on my own, but then with the help of AI tools like Copilot, I was able to make it more systemized and look it more professional per se, right? So that's one beauty you can have with the collaboration tools, right? And the good part, as I mentioned, is about creativity. So you're going out of the box, and it's all also enjoyable in the process. As you can see, this is like a manufacturing process, and everyone is enjoying the just in time approach, and they are just doing a lot of activities together, right? As a collective team. So this is what Copilot Studio does. It just helps you not just collaborate, but also make you more enjoyable and productive, and you're becoming more creative per day. Think about, we didn't had any AI tool past, let's say 5 years or 10 years before. We never used to think out of the box. We were just confined to what is being taught in the books. But now we are going out of the box, right? So we are just thinking, because of this lovely AI tools present there. Now, one of the key things with, let's say with your team members, let's say with the interns, employees whom you work with, is about providing that shared space for brainstorming, right? So now one of the key things is, let's say you have MS Teams, right? So you can see, you can make multiple groups, you can try to interact with them. But then a lot of people don't want to be always online, right? So they don't want to check their updates and things like that. So with comes of cloud, or in terms of collaboration, one of the key things is, let's say whenever they are available, they can see that kind of information, and they can come back and they can get an alert and things like that. So these are the things you can have in terms of team collaboration, and ultimately getting a feedback in real time. Just like you remember earlier times when we wanted to write MOMs, specifically minutes of meetings. So we will go to a Google Doc, and we will wait for someone to put a comment on a real time, and then you reply to them. Right now, everything has changed. Now everything is on automation, right? So the all kind of creativity and all kind of output, you can quickly get, and you can be super happy with terms of information which you are actually getting, versus Copilot, right? So now quickly going back to the tool before we go in depth about what other things I have. So I just quickly wanted to share some of the interesting use cases which I really wanted to show today with the Copilot, right? So let's just say, I'm just writing a very specific use case to see how it will react and how it will try to do this. So build a custom agent for understanding how many people struggle with language problems in a foreign country as a tourist, right? So this is one of the challenge. Like, let's say, you will face this. Like, let's say, there are a lot of apps. In fact, there's a lot of I remember collaborating very recently with a Korean based startup which is probably solving this. One of the key challenges is about English language. It's a challenge when you're booking cabs, for example, in Korea. So it's a little challenge to talk to the drivers and convince them for that. But they're more advanced, so they you just see the yellow light and the cab is free, so you can go, just sit inside and just go. That's another thing. But then to book the apps or do things like that, one of the key challenges there when you're actually traveling as a tourist, or let's say on a business purpose. So one of the key challenge what I see is a lot of companies coming up with the kind of tools to make sure that tourists get that kind of language barrier revolved, or let's say those challenge are been solved, right? So I just wanted to see if they can build a quick custom agent for me to understand what are the things facing this challenge and how we can solve this challenge, right? So you can see here they have quickly made a custom agent called language barrier tracker for tourists. And the objective for this is to gather data on the number of tourists who experience language barriers in a foreign country and to provide insights how to address this challenge. So it's not about, see, I have not mentioned, if you see very clearly, I want to know how to address these challenges. But because AI is smart, they also want to provide a solution to it, right? So they just don't want to give me a fed data with, let's say, these are the challenges people are facing, but they also want to go a next level where they also want to recommend what are the things we can implement, right? So they have mentioned to start with a survey tool. Obviously you can make it quickly with let's say Microsoft Forms or anything like a Survey Monkey, right? So we just select popular tourist destinations. So let's say if I want to select very specifically the places where a lot of tourists go, right? And where people would like to go. Let's say for India, for example, Agra is one of the great tourist destinations where people want to be there, right? So it can show me the recommendations, how many people have visited, or let's say what kind of challenges they might have faced while negotiating with, let's say, the local transportation. Or maybe the foreign tourists might have to pay more if they were not being accompanied by a local guide, right? So all kind of challenges we can put it in the survey tool, right? Even you can talk about, let's say, impact on their travel experience. So just like an airline asks you, what has been your experience, so you can also ask about what are the impact in terms of when you landed from your foreign country to that country, and what's your experience and things like that. Obviously data collection, this is one of the favorite things. So building quickly a QR code, or let's say a mobile app to people to scan it quickly. And the good part is, let's say you tie up with IATA based local travel agents, or let's say hotels, tourism offices, so that they can distribute the survey quickly. Because at the end they are the ones who are authorized, and they are the ones who are bringing a lot of tourists to the. So whenever you apply for visa also, you go to a authorized travel agency, with the IATA and things like that. So obviously it will be helpful to also market, and to get a lot of people to use your solution. Next is data analysis. This is one of the favorite thing which everyone does, is to identify what are the common language barriers, right? So what people are generally facing, specifically the tourists, right? So it could be let's say maybe their experience in terms of demographics, right? So let's say a Gen Z versus someone who's an old age, so they will have different kind of barriers when talking with people, right? I mean, in terms of navigation. So someone who's a Gen Z, they can or who's a boomer, they can navigate it much faster. Someone who's an old age might take time to adapt to the technology, right? But on a different aspect, when it comes to decision making, someone who is senior, someone who's old age, they can take decisions much faster. But someone who's a Gen Z or a boomer, they might have to be choosy and picky in terms of making that quick decision, right? So based upon that, the data can be segregated and we can see the categorized data. Next, once we have the data, we go for insight generation. So we can see, the satisfaction level of the data, right? So I mean, how many people have responded to the survey, and how many people have got satisfaction and things like that. And based upon that, we provide recommendations. I remember when I was taking a bus from the South Convention Center in Korea to going to Pangyo Startup Valley, where the startup ecosystem is there. I met someone who was actually running a startup. They were into sustainability, right? So they were also asking me some very relevant questions to understand how's the market in India. People, do they follow sustainability in terms of buying plastic, or let's say buying items which are against plastic, or let's say buying cups and things like that. And I was able to answer them to a certain extent, but they were collecting a lot of data and things like that. So it's the same thing, you try to collect from the tourist, understanding different markets, and to provide them recommendation based upon what the tourist provides. And the most important part is solution implementation. So obviously, once you have developed everything and you have understood about these apps and things like that, so now you will make solution very tailored to the tourist, right? The most important thing is you make a training manual which should be culture sensitivity. Now every country has some kind of sensitivity things, right? I mean, when you actually talk to people, when you actually show your business card, so every country has a different way how they perceive you in terms of that. So it will try to ensure that it is compliant with that, also with the local guides as well, right? And the most important is providing translation services and multilingual resources at key tourist locations. So think about, let's say, you have actually entered a country and you have actually entered the tourist location. Now from there you need to go to the next location, so you really need a multilingual resource there. You need a translation services. So in different countries you have different apps which provide that, but unfortunately everything is not integrated. So you have to have a lot of apps. Like, let's say I want to take an MRT, which is like a metro in a country. So I have to use an X app. If I want to take very specific, let's say a cab, so I need to use Grab app or Uber, right? So I have to use different apps. Now with this app it will really help to put everything together. So that's one good thing you can build. And the feedback loop, right? So obviously, not everything which you have implemented is going to be 100% accurate. So you need to keep collecting feedback from the tourists to improve the effectiveness of the solution which you have implemented. And obviously based upon the insights and trends you can change it. So you can see this, like, they're also providing an outcome, saying this by implementing this kind of solution. Obviously they can better understand about the language issues which is a tourist is facing. And obviously it will be a seamless travel experience, right? I mean, I can give an example. When you talk about airline, one of the good airlines what I see is Singapore Airlines. Let's say they have a seamless travel experience. You will have an internet about 10,000 feet on the fly, right? So you can use internet, as long as you're above 10,000 feet in the fly, and you can communicate with a lot of people, though you cannot do calling per se. So that kind of seamless travel experience, you feel like, I mean, as a great customer using their solutions and services. So same thing, when you're building some solutions, how do your end customers look as a travel experience, right? I mean, whether the app is crashing, whether you're able to get the connectivity there, or all those kind of questions, it can really help. So you can just see, and if you feel this solution is nice, you can obviously give a thumbs up. If you feel the solution is not good, or you feel like it needs improvement, you can do this. And obviously you can flag it if you feel it's misappropriate or spam, anything like that. So there's also an option of flagging it. So just like how you send email to someone about an update, is the same way you do it, but it's more like a conversational tool here. And the good part is I can quickly get some insights much faster. So it's just like I just use the specific prompt to get this some amazing things. And now next thing is I can ask, like, how to build on own, what are the cost involved, right? So I would like to know, for custom agent, right, for app, let's say I want to ask iOS and Android apps. Okay, so no, share me each step by step process. If possible, make a flow chart, right? So this is now like a next step to ask. Now that you have understood, like, okay, these are the things you need to do. So this is how they have recommended how to build this custom agent. Let's say obviously they'll give a rough estimate. This estimate is obviously being given after taking a lot of inputs. Obviously you can do it much cheaper, but then obviously this will be a rough estimate. So you can see here, if you want to build this kind of an app, you want to go next level with the Copilot, and you can do the idea and planning, where you can define the app's purpose, target audience, and key features. You can conduct market research and competitor analysis. Yeah, this is very important. Right, so I mean, having your competitors, is a strong thing. Create a project plan and timeline, right? So you can use Jira, or you can use all those kind of tools to make it more relevant, right? The designing part, yeah, having a great UI interface, right? So this is what is an estimated cost, what they are recommending. Development is much costlier, right? And then you can see how they are setting up the environment, front end and back end, right? Obviously they'll have a chatbot and things like that, and then the testing part after development, right? So this is an estimated cost when you're doing UAT and things like that, and then the final launch. So if you want to submit the app to the App Store, so there are guidelines before you actually launch it on the App Store or Google Play for review. Right, so if you meet those guidelines, you will get it, right? And then obviously maintenance cost and all. And then since I asked them to make a flow chart, so they have actually made it very clear, and I can also copy it and I can save this code, and this is how they have shown this. Obviously this is based upon what I understand is a global market. Obviously, if I want to do it in India, I would do it much cheaper. But let's say this is a generic rate, which they have mentioned. Obviously, this is a huge cost if you see when it comes to building things and things like that. Obviously, you can go on the cheaper side and see how you can get things rolling, right? But the good part is, if you have everything integrated, you can obviously get a lot of things done, right? So this is one of the good part of using Copilot. And you can see you just need to master prompt engineering a little bit, and then you can write some good prompts and get this quickly done, right? So this is what I wanted to quickly show. Now we were talking about enhancing. We have already covered about let's say enhancing team collaboration. Now we will talk about, what about this creative blocks. I have spoken about, we get a lot of blocks. So just like for example, I'm writing a book on Chat GPT and Copilot right now, right? So for me, there's a lot of distractions out there. There's a lot of content already flowing. Now let's say Nifdia has launched a tool which is way powerful than Chat GPT or OpenAI, right? So they are bringing a tool which is way advanced, right? The Torque AI also has some features when it comes to AI. So there are a lot of creative blocks that also comes into my mind when I try to write, to see what are the barriers, what are the suggestions and all. But then with kind of this AI tools, if you really have something in your mind, you put it in the AI tool and it will structure it the way how you saw till the outcome which you saw on this last demo. So based upon that, you can probably like get your customized thoughts in process. So I use Grammarly, for example. So I write everything on my Grammarly app through mobile, and I put it here, and it will obviously correct my grammar. That's number one. Second is, obviously it will structure it better. And let's say I want to, before I publish a book, or let's say before I get the abstract ready and things, the content and things like that, I like it to make it more personalized, make it more relevant. So I will use AI to make it more structured. So that is what your creative blocks can overdo those kind of hindrance, and you can get over those challenges which generally manually, if you do, you might face. Just like we say, you get this mind block in writer's block, right? So when you're writing, you feel like, should I include this, should I exclude this? So I was also thinking, should I include all the competitors of AI in terms of Microsoft, or should I only include some of the top tools, right? So all those kind of creative blocks I have. So I will again go back to Copilot. I will ask them, should I include? So they will suggest, they'll give us, and the good part is they'll not be biased here, saying you should include or you shouldn't. So they'll just give based upon the the previous kind of responses and things like that, right? So there's not going to be much biasness involved here. Yeah, this is my favorite thing. I mean, think about real world applications. So let's say, for if I talk about my recent experience in terms of AI, so I can see whenever I want to charge my mobile, I go to any bus stop, or let's say I go to any of the MRT, I can see there's a charging point available in Korea. So I can just quickly put my mobile, it can automatically put my charging on. I don't have to carry a charger. I remember one of a delegate traveling with me. Their charge was 0%, and they really wanted to charge their mobile. We were in Seoul, and there was an option with the power bank. So basically, all the shopping malls, all the groceries, all the shopping, coffee shops, everyone has power banks. So you can rent per hour, and you can quickly get your mobile charge right away, right? You can travel, keep traveling, using that, and come back and return. So so that's one of the key things when it comes to using real world applications with AI. So how much advanced we could be in terms of doing that. I hope in India also we could really see this kind of things, because one of the key challenges right now is your mobile battery charge, right? Whether you're using as an iOS or Android or Windows, so your mobile charge keeps draining. So we really need to have this kind of solution every part of the city where we are roaming in, so that we can quickly get that kind of benefit and things like that, right? So yeah, as I mentioned about streamlining my workflows, having such kind of creative output as you have seen now, right, it will obviously help me to build innovative solutions and products. And this is also going to build. So you can see a child showing this in the picture about the creativity part. I mean, because as you see in the younger generation right now is building a lot of things. I mean, I could have ever dreamt of, like when I was a child, to have, let's say, 1 million followers. But right now the kids are doing amazingly well on YouTube, right? And they have that kind of outreach and coverage with their kind of videos and social media posts, right? Having such kind of views and things like that, right? So those are the things which has really changed in terms of doing that. And obviously, depending on which segment you want to learn. So let's say you want to learn Canva in terms of content creation, in terms of designing, marketing, or let's say you want to do software development using different tools with GitHub. So you can use it. As GitHub Copilot is also one of the good tools which you can use, if you are a hardcore coder, and if you believe, like, you can do a lot of things together, right? So there's a lot of tools available which you can also use as a complementary thing. One of the key things is, what about the success stories, right, about your users, right? So just like I showed an example of this tourist challenges, and let's say you getting the feedback, and they saying like, okay, look, thank you so much, because of you I was able to reach to XYZ destination much quicker than what I was supposed to search on different platforms. So let's say, I can give an example. So different countries, you go to China, you go to Korea, you go to Japan, Google Maps doesn't work that faster. So it doesn't show me, let's say, for walking, for train, or let's say for bus, how I can see from two locations. So in Korea, I was using Kakao app, which was actually helping me to give a better navigation. So one of the key challenges is obviously there about making sure you get everything in limited time, because you have limited hours. So how do you use such kind of applications and to build some great kind of user success stories? So obviously, Kakao has a Kakao Cloud, which is having that kind of data. And obviously, if you're a Korean citizen, you can get a lot of benefits for booking Kakao cabs and a lot of things. So I always believe, like, if you have things on the cloud per se, you can get a lot of things in terms of significant improvements you can make to the users. And obviously you can increase the productivity level to a greater extent, right? So regardless of whether you want to enhance your idea, your success stories, or whatever, right? So you can be really creative if you can really note on those. And I'm sure there are a lot of case studies, if you see right now on the internet, about Copilot, where a lot of people have saved not just their hours, but they have been becoming super creative. I mean, a lot of startups who have also got funding. Believe me, there's a lot of startups who have got funding by using some crafty kind of pitch decks creating from the AI tools, right? So you can see how this Copilot and all this kind of tools are really fruitful for you right now. And these are like some things which I also want people to start using, based upon their network, and the time which they have, like based upon your schedule, right? A lot of people ask me, like, what are the best practices? I mean, there's no specific let's say shortcut to say best practices, but yeah, in a nutshell, these are some of the things. I mean, obviously, you should have a clear goal. So let's say when you get up in the morning, regardless of whatever apps you use, if you use an offline journal, that's fine. You should have a clear goal. You should utilize all the features. I mean, one of the key things, I've been discussing with a lot of folks. A lot of people don't know all the benefits of Copilot. A lot of people don't know all the benefits of ChatGPT. A lot of people don't know all the benefits of Gemini, right? So you really have to go deeper and see what are the features which is already available for free, which is already available in your paid license which you're using, right? So you have to start using all the features, right? And the most important is you have to encourage others also to use. I mean, see, five features, why not teach others as well, right? So teaching, educating is one of the greatest things. I mean, most of the Microsoft MVPs, they do that, right? They teach others about how to collaborate with each others and things like that, right? So you should start encouraging, you should start sharing it to your corporate employees, to others whom you actually hang out with, so you can share them all the kind of features which is available. Right, you can start writing blogs, you can start writing some kind of content over this. So let's say after having this kind of a webinar about Copilot, you can write some good things about Copilot and Copilot Studio, what you have understood from today's session. Right, so and what are the features which probably you never thought is actually available in this, right? So a lot of people can actually appreciate, and they can also share it to their network, and that's how the collective learning really works. Right, and ultimately it's about having an atmosphere which is not just creative but also productive. Right, because I also believe we really need to be in a productive environment and things like that. Right now, how does the future look with creativity today? Today I was in the conference with future of HR, with Shape of Work, Springworks, and Razorpay, and we were discussing about how the AI is actually going to either eat up jobs, or let's say create more jobs. I mean, I would obviously say it is going to create more jobs. Right, so yeah, I mean, with AI there's a lot of creativity happening. Right, and obviously with all this kind of advancements, I can really be creative, I can really create a lot of things literally in seconds. You can see, like, just a prompt I put in, and I can get all those kind of information literally in seconds. It's not even minutes I have to wait. And the good part is it is very accurate. So let's say if I ask someone about some kind of questions, they might give an answer. They might be an expert, but they might not give you 90% plus accuracy. But with this kind of tools, I see a very high percentage of accuracy, right? And everything is efficient and accessible for everyone. So even with Copilot and Chat GPT, what I can see is I can share those kind of conversations which I had with the AI companion. So I'll just use a short link, and I can share it. Everyone can visit that link, and they can see what I have actually got, the prompt and things like that, right? So that's how the future of creativity with AI looks like. I've done a lot of sessions on creativity, design thinking, and a lot of stuff. And what I see is everyone coming up with kind of a unique approach. So whenever you go to conferences, you go to webinars, seminars, you'll find a lot of unique approach coming into. You'll hear new case studies, new kind of approach. But unfortunately, we are not able to capture that. With Copilot and Studio, they are able to capture that, and that's why they are becoming more smarter and smart. So imagine if whatever conversation we are having, everything we are trying to put it across in one channel, in one cloud, and we can really become more smarter with that. And that's the whole part of using AI and things like that, right? So that's one of the key things I really wanted to highlight when it comes to creativity and future. So I think, yeah, I mean, we are just close to the time. So in conclusion, what I would like to say is, like, one of the key things which I really liked about Copilot is obviously it can integrate into multiple workflows, and obviously we are super creative, and obviously we can drive innovations through various fields. I mean, it depends on what you want to get, I mean, what your output is. But let's assume that you are getting started out there, you're not an expert. If you're an expert, you've been already being using all the features. But let's say if you're just starting out, just have a real set of goals. Maybe make some kind of like short term goals, long term goals, and then have each goals divided into different multiple steps, so that way you can really feel what are the apps you need to get integrated with this workflows, right? We use Microsoft 365 like on a daily basis. You talk about any kind of applications, even you talk about Excel, PowerPoint, right? Power Automate, any kind of solutions which Microsoft provides, we use it on a day-to-day basis, but we are not using it all the features. Now this is what the Copilot Studio does. It makes you learn about the features, it makes you ensure there's a guide to say you, like, okay, these are the things you need to learn. We sometimes omit it, we sometimes feel like we will bookmark it, we'll learn it later. But this tool really helps you to learn and go with the flow and things like that. So that's one of the things I really like about Copilot Studio. So if you have any questions, you can obviously reach out to me on my email ID and the number, and also you can scan the code to reach out to my on my LinkedIn. Right, and I would really love to meet a lot of students, a lot of developers, a lot of people around there who are very much proficient or who are learning AI. I'm really passionate about AI, so I would love to meet a lot of people in the AI field. And if there's anything you would like to contribute to my ecosystem and things like that, I'm happy to connect with you and things like that. All right, so that's all from my end, and I would be back, the thing back to the moderator. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for having me, and I hope like this session was effective. So yeah, so that's all from my end, and I would really appreciate if you have any kind of questions, do drop in the chat box I can see here, or maybe if you are going to see this later, so try to leave it on the YouTube comment or wherever you have any questions. So happy to have it on that. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for staying till 9 p.m. And thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you, Dhruv, for hosting, and back to you. So hopefully we can obviously conversate later about any questions if they have.